Hello and welcome to the United Devil channel with me, JB. This is the match reaction for the unbelievable 4-4 draw Bournemouth and United. First of all, thank you for being with me and obviously sharing the game. There's so many things that we need to talk about tonight. I don't even know where to start. First of all, I'm going to say this: get into this amazing community, get in your opinions on the match. Look, I want to do it slightly differently tonight. I want you to have the say. I want you to basically lead the show tonight. I'll give you my thoughts on the game as well. Spoiler alert: Larmans is man of the match for me. I think that is obvious for me. First thing to say is I get into this amazing community. This is the best community on this platform by far. We have different opinions on here. I do love the fact that we don't all share the same opinions. I think tonight is going to be one of those nights where, look, I'm gonna say this. First of all, get into the community. Respect each other, respect me, respect yourselves. Otherwise, the banhammer comes out, and it's not something that we like to do, but we will do. Second of all, I'm not a dictator of this chat, and as I always say, get into this community. I want you to get in your comments tonight. I want to hear what you're saying. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Look, we're going to have an honest conversation tonight. There are things that I want to say about certain players. There are things that I want to say about the manager, and I think we need to be realistic about where we think we go from here, because I don't know. We were talking before the game, and we've been talking all week, and I'll go into what we were talking about this week as well. And what's becoming abundantly clear to me is that we've got a coach and players here that are like water and oil, right? They just don't mix. No matter what Amorim does, no matter the system that he changes, he can't get a tune out of these players. Equally, is he making the right choices in these players? You got to look at the players as well. I still blame these players more than I do the coach. But look, at what point do I have to go, look, this coach doesn't suit these players. He doesn't suit these players. I want to get your opinion on this. Do you think it is the players? Do you think it is the coach? Do you think it's a combination of both? Do you think it's in your? I just want to know your opinions tonight. And look, I'm not going to. I just want you guys to have your opinion. If you ask me a question, I will answer the question. But I think tonight is more about you guys getting your opinion out there. You give your opinions. I will read that opinion, because this is what we do on here. And I think we do need to have an honest conversation about that. So look, get into the community. Palace Edit says 4-4. I know. Dino says like, share and subscribe. Well, JB, let's try picking the bones of that one. Herbie says that midfield is not going to improve. We need two world-class signings in there right away. Lemens looks like a real prospect. I don't even know where to start off with this game. To be fair, I'm gonna spoiler alert. Larmans was the man of the match. When this channel first started, there were a couple of people who were on here, and we got the Shesko thing right. So we were talking about Shesko, and we were talking about a few other bits and pieces, right? And we spoke about Shesko, we spoke about Larmans, and we basically wanted this keeper in because we genuinely thought that he was going to be the next big thing. And tonight was one of those things where there are certain players who are either world class and are either world class or awful. And I'm going to go through the players, and I'm going to try and be as fair as I possibly can, and I'm going to give you the pros and cons to each of the players. And then I think Amorim as well, we need to discuss that. Decky Play says you look like Whoopi Goldberg. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. I think that's difficult, but thank you anyway. Dino says defensively we are so poor. Luke Shaw better be dropped for the rest of the season. We have now played 4 at the back, and we were even worse. Look, guys, just get in your opinions on that. I mean, I don't even really know where to start off, and really, I think where I am going to start off. Like, let's talk about the match, and then let's talk about. And I'm going to prefix some of this with some of the things that I've seen out there. And I think this is why we struggle as a fan base, and I think we struggle with this. I saw some stuff today, and I'm not going to call out names and channels because, again, I think when you do this, Dino says, at least we show that we can still score. When you do this, in my view, you've got an obligation to be as unbiased as you possibly can. Storch says, Borussia Dortmund. Herbie says, call me naive, but I can't believe that so-called professional footballers are unable to play the way they're effing told. Unbelievable, keeper soft, and midfield like water. Bruno being made the scapegoat. Oh, Kevin McGee. Look, mate, I respect the opinion, and tonight, this is your show to have the opinion. You've clearly got a different opinion to me, and that's absolutely fine. Bruno is not the scapegoat. Bruno scored a fantastic free kick tonight, a world-class free kick tonight. The rest of the time, where was he? You call the keeper soft. The goalkeeper stopped us from losing twice. So look, I absolutely agree that you're saying that the midfield is like water. Bruno Fernandes is part of that midfield. Bruno Fernandes in the first half was good. He scored an absolute world-class free kick. At times he looked unplayable. Second half capitulated. Where was his leadership? Where was and again, this is what we're going to do tonight. But Kevin, Bruno Fernandes is look. He's not a scapegoat. I disagree with you, but that's your opinion. Bruno Fernandes, for me, is the captain. I fully appreciate that Bruno Fernandes is not playing as a 10. That is not his fault. And I will agree with you completely. That is not his fault. He set up a corner and he scored a free kick. Right? Bruno is a stat padder. And I will keep saying this time and time again. Other than a free kick, other than a corner, right? Free kick and corner. The corner, the free kick was world class. The corner kick was a corner kick. Other than that, he assists, he scores a goal. But what's the point? What is the point if we draw 4-4? What is the point if everything else he does is shit? What is the point of him scoring free kicks and putting corners in if everything else he does around it is dog shit? JB Dina says Burma was atrocious. We can get on to that as well. JB, I'll admit Le Mans was a fault for the free kick they scored, but it wasn't for Le Mans. They could have been 3 or 4 up. Le Mans was at fault for the free kick, right? I think tonight what's going to happen is we're going to start to blame things, right? This is not on Fernandes tonight. Okay, this is not. Look, Fernandes assist from a corner and a goal. Bruno in part did his part, but he also did some bad things as well. This is a collective tonight. This is not a witch hunt from me tonight. This is not a Bruno was awful. It's his fault. This is a collective balls up tonight. You know, the only player for me tonight that gets away with it is Larmans. Because if Larmans hadn't have made those 2 saves at the end, it would have been 5-4 or 6-4. Larmans, for me, gets away with one tonight because I thought without those 2 saves, yes, his positional sense for the second goal or the first goal wasn't great. He made up for that. Scott says, we will miss Mbeumo and Maz. I'm glad not to see Mbeumo for a while. He's been shocking lately. Jack Farthing says, glory to Man United. Bruno will never be able to keep the ball. I blame the shit mentality of the players winning at half-time 2-0 and their heads dropped. Fernandes in patches played well, but the team as a whole collapsed. Those saves were right at him. Why does he get off the hook for free? Kevin, the first save he made at 4-4 was phenomenal. You're saying they were right at him. They weren't. Like, did you not see Casemiro's header? Casemiro's header went through the goalkeeper like fucking water. I am sorry, if it wasn't for Larmans tonight, we would have lost that game. Larmans did nothing wrong. Other than that free kick, which he probably should have saved, Larmans, for me, I'm sorry. If it wasn't for him, we would have lost. And look, again, I respect the right. You know, look, at the end of the day, you watch football in a different way to me. You may be like, I don't get how he can say these things. And Kevin, I don't understand how you can back Fernandes and think that he's a scapegoat when the whole team was crap. Like, I am not scapegoating any of these players. Tonight it is a collective F up. The keeper was shot too, but Lamens was average. I disagree with you. I disagree, Kevin, but you know we can agree to disagree. Nothing has changed from last season except attacking personnel and keeper with much fewer mistakes. 39 seconds into the second half, they score. That's not Amorim. That's the players not being switched on. I agree with you. So look, let's get on to this game. Part of me wants to erupt and be like everyone else tonight and start, calling these players wankers and start calling these players wasters. Start calling these players, a bunch of crap. Look, Larmans tonight. Larmans tonight. If it wasn't for Larmans, Herbie, we would have lost the game. There are things that people do. Right, there are things that people do. Right, so when people on stream were calling for Maguire to come on, right, they were calling for Maguire to come in and bang in the header. So let's just say, I can't remember, was it the Liverpool game, right? Whichever one it was, right? You've got 1-1, and then Harry Maguire scores the winner in the 92nd minute, right? People are lauding Maguire, saying he's a fantastic player, get him on. What Larmans did at the end of the game is the equivalent of Maguire scoring a goal. What Larmans did today, and people may disagree and they can say whatever they like, in a nervous back four, back three, Larmans was switched on, and that is what you do in that last piece of the game. He saved us. The equivalent of what he did at the end of that game is the reason why we didn't lose. It doesn't matter what came before it. I don't care if Bruno Fernandes scored a worldy free kick. I don't give a shit if Bruno Fernandes put a corner in. I don't care if Cunha scored. It was 4-4. It doesn't matter. All that matters is what happens at the end of the game, and what Larmans did at the end of the game saved our arse. Gon says, I enjoyed the first 3 minutes. I'm going to go watch some TV, JB. Have a good holiday. Hope you stream when you're over there. Cheers, buddy. Have a rest, my friend. Go and watch something that's not us. Cracking advertisement for the Premier League. Sully said, very happy with Larmins, but weaknesses, free kicks. Only 2 mistakes he has made. Shot stopping and positioning. Great. Look, I agree with you. Agreed, 10th would be a good season. Look, Torres, I've been banging on about this. The whole season. I think we finished somewhere between 8th and 10th. And tonight was the epitome of why I think that. Why I think that this team is so inconsistent. Why I think these are light switch players. Why I think these are low IQ players. Why I think the mentality of these players are embarrassing. You've got a manager who's out of his depth. You've got a manager that doesn't really understand the Premier League. You've got, this is an Ineos Nice style fuck up. Madman says it's embarrassing. Now, no way you can blame the keeper. Look at that defence in front of him. Look, agreed, mate. Larmins tonight. Larmins is the star man for me. Someone says, good evening. I just don't know what to say, to be honest. The word has been invented and described. Like Simon, I'm with you. There'll be channels out there tonight, right, Simon, who'll be going, oh, fucking hell, I hate this fucking team, this fucking team is shit, fucking Aaron out, Bruno out, fucking Delo out, fucking hate them, fucking hell. Like, there is no words that can describe what this was tonight. We've seen everything from Grimsby. We've seen Everton. We've seen West Ham. We've beat Liverpool. We've seen a 4-4 tonight. I don't know what this team is. I think that's probably worse. I mean, I'm not going to shout and scream because I just think I'll leave the shouting and screaming to the other idiots. I'll leave the shouting and screaming because I've done enough of that. I'll leave the shouting and screaming to the other channels who are just doing it for clicks, right? I will leave that silly shouting stuff for clicks because that is what we don't do on here. We need a discussion. I think we absolutely need a discussion on here about what we think we are, and we go through the game in a very pragmatic, in a very honest way. I'll give you some opinions, you give me yours, and then we can talk about the game. Pivot out, says Scott. Le Mans saved us. That point for us, he cannot help the defence exactly. Tony Schramm says, PSG, this is one team we'll always struggle to beat. Question, what is the problem with the mentality of this team and why do you feel like it's a low IQ team? So, like, Brian, the reason why I say it's a low IQ team is that in game, when you've got a manager who is trying to come into this team and he's trying to implement strategies and the way that he's trying to play, this is not Amorim ball. This is nowhere near Amorim's style of play. Amorim has dumbed this down. Ten Hag had to dumb down his style of play. The reason why these players are low IQ, because the only system they've been able to play, and not them all, the only system they've been able to play is Ollie ball. Because it's basically kick and run. It's basically kick and run, counter-attack as fast as you can, and try to outscore the opponent. These players have one game a week. They can't learn the system. You know, Amorim, and we will get on to him tonight because he doesn't get away with it either. You know, they play a certain way. Amorim switches it up to a back four. And then they can't adapt to a position that they've all been complaining about that they want to play. You know, Amorim can take many blames tonight, but you cannot blame the manager for the positioning of these players. You cannot blame the manager for the attitude of these players. You cannot blame a coach for what they don't do on the pitch. You know, you can't blame the players for being played out of position. That isn't their fault. You know, if these players had have won the game tonight, it would have been on those players. You could have said Amorim sets up the team, but we know after what these players did, if they'd have come back into this game and won, as much as it still would have pissed me off, I would have said, look, you're right, these players turned up and these players won this game. Because right now, it doesn't matter what Amorim does, it doesn't matter what formation he puts out, it doesn't matter anything he does, these players have to win the match. And what I mean is that if these players don't turn up, it doesn't matter what the coach does or says, the only people who are going to win the match are not tactics. The formation isn't going to win the match. It's what the players can be fucking bothered to do that will win this match. So everything right now is on these players. And look, we can talk about Amorim as well in regards to this. Amorim plays his favourites. Amorim doesn't drop any of these players, as we saw from the conference. He's more than happy to call out Amas, Obi, Mainu, Collier. He's more than happy to call out these players, but he doesn't call out his stars. So therefore, my critique here, or my observation, is Amorim's weak. You know, Amorim's weakness is he doesn't know what to do with this team. So in my view right now, and what is quite clear to me, is this. Amorim is not in charge of this team. Amorim will talk about formations, and Amorim in the conference Saturday night was talking about consistency. Was talking about this team needs to be more consistent. And look, Amorim, fuck off, mate. Like, I'm tired, Amorim. I'm tired, mate. Stop talking in conferences about consistency, because you make yourself look fucking stupid. Like, I want this manager to succeed. I do. But what's clear to me right now is Amorim is not in charge of this team. Amorim is just not in charge of this team. These players are in charge. It's almost like when your teacher at school tells you to do your homework and you can't be bothered. And it's only when you decide to do your homework that you will do the homework. These players are in charge of this side. And therefore, my assessment right now, and you may agree or disagree on this point, is that these players are in charge of this team. Amorim is almost like a figurehead, and I don't know how we change that. And that ultimately tonight is my question. Give me your view on, do you think it's Amorim? Do you think it's the players? What do you think it is? I called 8th at the start of the season. Dalot played well for 30 minutes. Brian gave the ball away every time. Must be depressing to be a United fan nowadays. You got that right, mate. This cannot be Amorim's style of play, because it is what the board think of when they hired him. United will beat Villa. Not a chance. Not a chance in hell. Golfadad says, showed a lot going forward tonight, but fuck, we can't defend. Lamens was brilliant despite their free kick positioning, as big as a last minute winner, that save at the end. Imagine scoring 4 and then drawing at Old Trafford. Good point. Bournemouth should or could have won this. This is now the 3rd game we have drawn at Old Trafford, and thought our away form was bad. 54 watching, only 11 likes. Come on, guys, give it a good old like, favourite and subscribe. Old Trafford can no longer be called a fortress. It's not, my friend. United forward was good tonight. What do you think tonight? Look, it doesn't matter. This is the, and look, guys, no, I'm not disrespecting your opinions tonight. Just if I start talking about them, it's just because you sparked something off, right? It doesn't matter. A team comprises of people, right? A team comprises of a goalkeeper, defenders, a midfield pivot, attackers, right? it doesn't matter if we go forward and score 100 goals. If we concede 101 goals, it doesn't matter. Because if our forward line is great, fantastic. But if our back three, back four is crap, it doesn't matter. So this is the problem for me, is that we're not a cohesive team. We are not cohesive. We are parts. We are Moments FC. We are a team that plays in sections of game. We need moments to draw games, to win games. And I've been saying this for the longest time now, is that we have been going on a spiral downwards since the Liverpool game. We beat Wolves. Wolves had 2 points. Crystal Palace, we beat Crystal. If you look at the teams that we beat, like, let's be honest here, right? If we look at the teams that we've beaten, right, this season, Brighton, okay. Liverpool were on the worst period that they've had in 10 years, right? Wolves basically had 2 points, and the reason why Wolves lost is because they thought that they could outplay us. Crystal Palace, before that, the reason why we won that one is because Palace played in midweek and they basically capitulated. We lost at home to the Toffees. We drew at home to West Ham, Bournemouth. And it's really funny how we struggle. Chelsea, they had 10 men for the longest amount of time, but we did beat them. But if you look at the Chelsea game as well, Chelsea had 10 men for a large chunk of that game. So if you actually look at those wins, how many of them can you actually say, actually, do you know what, we outplayed them? The only game I would probably say that we probably looked the best in, but we still try to fuck it up, was the Brighton game. I thought we played well. I thought we looked comfortable, but we still tried to fuck that up as well. So if you look at our wins this season, can anybody tell me with their hand on their heart and say that against those teams that we won, that we were good? I disagree, because I think we've been shit all season. Let me get... I think Radcliffe trying to make the decisions. Interesting journey. You see on Sunday, Maresca said, the last 40 hours since I've been at the club has been so much pressure. That's Maresca saying F the board. It's the players, not the manager. Such an amazing performance for the boys tonight. What the Bournemouth boys? We have more hope than Bob Hope of beating Villa and Newcastle. I will come back up to that one as well. So look, Simon. I think to go back to that comment, I think we're now going to drop away, because one of the things I thought was important is we needed a win against West Ham. We needed a win against the Toffees. We needed a win tonight. Because if we'd have won those games, the next 2 games could have been almost a free hit, because we know how good Villa are at home. Newcastle as well are a difficult team. So if we'd have won those games, we could have actually maybe had a bit of a free hit. We now have to win those games. We now have to go to Aston Villa, whose home record is, I think it's first or second out of every European team. They haven't lost at home for like 30 odd games. You know, Simon, you're right. We are absolutely just done in, mate. We go down. So look what we're saying. Dina says, all of the above, JB, from the very top all the way down to the players is rotten. Conceded 4 goals at home is ridiculous. We are too heavily dependent on individual brilliance. We beat Chelsea too. I think, yes, we did. Joshua says, don't blame anybody for once. You should be appreciative of good football. These players are still booed and you talk too much. Look, Joshua, talking shit, mate. Look, look, you're clearly not a United fan. I don't mind the banter, but you're talking shit. Absolutely talking out of your arse. Because these players are dog shit. Mate, you clearly don't watch this. You clearly don't watch our players because our team is dog shit. Our players are low IQ, lots of which players they've sacked many managers. Look, they're going to sack Amorim. Look, they're going to sack him. You know, look, Amorim is drawn tonight. He's going to lose to Villa. He's going to lose to Newcastle at home. Have some faith in your team. All 6 Premier League teams with 26 points, 7 wins and 5 draws and 4 losses. Look, Brian, mate, it's one of those things, Brian, that it's a false dawn. We are one of those teams right now we are steadily going. Look, if we want to finish top 4, because we need to, right? Next game, we're going to lose to Villa. That's another 3 points dropped. Newcastle are going to come to Old Trafford. I don't know. I think that's going to be a loss. And if you look at the Premier League table, and I'll look at the Premier League table tonight, it's not about the position. It's about what we are. You know, United are on 26. Look, Villa 33, Chelsea 28. Right? If we lose the next game, which I think that we will, Villa will go 36, 10 points ahead of us. If Chelsea win as well, that's 31. We're 5 points behind. There's slowly going to be this gap. We're going to drop off. What you're going to see now in the next couple of weeks is you're going to see this team go further and further down the league. And I'm telling you now, we're going to finish somewhere between 8th and 10th. And look, it's perfectly okay not to agree with me. It's perfectly okay. And look, this is your show tonight. I am more than happy for you guys to have a different view. I'm not calling your opinions out tonight. I think it's really important that we have this debate. And look, I find it so fascinating, the different opinions that we have on here. Our midfielders more holes than Swiss cheese, says Simon. Villa did beat Arsenal. I think Villa will batter us. This is the level we're at. Josh says you're all complaining the hell out of all games. No support, just criticism. You're criticised too much. You all should be appreciative. I'm grateful these players. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad, Josh, that you've retracted that, mate, because you are talking bollocks. United issues are more than the pitch. I agree with you. I'd love to eavesdrop at the conference and see what's happening. It's all good if you say I'm talking shit. It's all good for me. I love process and a build-up. We need more time. You should all be patient. Look, Josh, I've been supporting this club since 1988. Josh, and look, my friend, I promise you, I'm not disrespecting you, but when I see somebody, I'm not saying that your comment per se is shit. Well, I am, but when your comment is, I should appreciate these players, right, Josh? Let me give you my retort on that one, okay? Your opinion is that you respect these players, okay? Fine. Got no problem in that. If you're talking about trust the process, fine. Got no issue with that either, okay? And you're saying that they need more time. Josh, fine. Don't ask me, do not ask this fan base to appreciate these players. Fuck these players. These low IQ, these players, why should I appreciate these players who are on 300 grand a week, who are on £150,000 a week, Josh. Thousands of fans who go to the games, who pay their money, have been supporting this club for 50, 60 years. Season ticket holders. This country has gone to shit. People are paying more tax than ever. This country has turned into a big bag of shit, and yet people, even though pay is crap, taxes are up, they take their hard-earned money and give it to the club because of something that they love. You can argue that they don't have to do it, that's fine. But it's something that they've always done. They've shared it with their grandfathers, their grandmothers, their sons, uncles, mums, sisters. These players get paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a week, millions of pounds a year. Do not fucking tell me to be appreciative of these fucking wankers. Josh, I've got no problem in you saying about, just give them time. That's fine. But do not tell me, do not tell us and this community that we need to be appreciative of these fucking wankers. These are low IQ pieces of shit players. Families and people go to these matches. They pay their money. These clowns, Luke Shaw, let me give you an example. Should I appreciate Luke Shaw, who's been at this club for 10 years, can't be fucking bothered to play, comes out to play for the Euros, injured again, and because it's a World Cup year, he's finally the fucking most fittest man in the entire world. I do not appreciate these players at all. These players get paid hundreds of thousands of pounds. Do you think tonight, do you think, Josh, that they give a fuck about you? Do you think they give a fuck about me? Do you think they give a shit about those fans who just paid hundreds of pounds to see that team while they're in their mansions? They don't give a shit. Heaven knows what 2026 is going to be like. I just hope we've got a good window. So tired of this. Not good. The midfield has been more open than Bonnie Blue's legs, and this instant to play Bruno he's going to die on his sword. Raphael says not good for my mental health. Who do you blame? It's complex. It's complex. Look, who do I blame? I blame Ineos. I blame the Glazers. If we're looking at the head of the snake, I blame the Glazers. The Glazers are arseholes, pieces of shit, the worst thing to happen to this club ever. Ineos, who've propped them up, they've. I'm just going to be straight up. Okay, Amorim is clearly the wrong guy. And what I mean is this. I'm not Amorim out, okay? Because the reason why I'm not Amorim out is this. If we keep sacking a manager, what are we going to do? If we keep sacking a manager, he's going to want some new players. And this is not aimed at this community. But do people not seem to realise we don't have any money? Do people seem to realise the Q1 results? People will spin it that we've made a profit. We didn't. We made another loss. We have got no fucking money. People are talking about the squad cost rules and how we're going to have all this money because we're going to be cash rich. We're not cash rich. If we don't get European football this year, we are fucked. And I don't think people seem to realise, if you think this is bad now, no Europe next season means less home games. We'll have less money to spend on players. We'll have Luke. And what people don't get either is if we have less cash to spend on players, Luke Shaw is going to be here. Bruno Fernandes is still going to be here. Dalot is still going to be here. All these players that people don't want are still going to be here because we won't be able to afford players. Um, it's like Michael Staples said in the Times, this is going to take a long time to turn around this squad, and Amorim needs another 2 or 3 windows to get top 4. Look, I am up for that. I want Ruben. Look, I don't want these players, right? I do not want these players. These players can fuck off. In my view, I agree with you completely. Amorim needs time. These are not his players, but will he be given time? And that is the question here. If Ineos are not willing to buy him players, sack him. But I couldn't agree more with you, Paul. I couldn't agree more with you. We have to give him windows. What is he supposed to do with this bag of shit? Omar says Amorim out. 12 years of building, and all that's happened is the stadium is falling apart. The team has declined season on season. Standards have dropped to a point where a result like this is accepted. Someone is not going to have a Merry Christmas, and I wonder who. Loving the United accent. Oh, Mark, come on, mate. Look, mate, it's boring, Mark. It's boring, Mark. It's boring. Mate, it's boring, mate. Absolutely boring. The funny thing is, Mark, when you say things like that, you just expose yourself. Brian says you need to stop blaming the players and start to blame the manager, because he's the reason we're all not top 4 in the Premier League. You need to sack Amorim after the season. Now, Brian, mate, look, Brian. Again, I've asked for your opinions tonight, and if that's your view, that's fine. I don't share it. If you listen to me, not in this part, because Amorim doesn't get away with this scot-free. This is a collection now of a waste of space. Sentiments Carragher support United. Jordan Berg. Funny, mate. Funny. Simon says we still have the stadium to sort out too. We barely have enough in the kitty to repair our leaky roof. Let's go United for life. Still 5 months to go until the season end. It's going to be a long 5 months. Yes, it is. So look, Brian. Look, tonight, Brian, you've got a case, Brian. You've got a case. I can't tonight sit here and go, it's all of the players. Okay? I also won't sit here and say Amorim out, because it can't be. It can't be just the manager. Like, how are we going, Brian? And look, Brian, this is. I'm not calling you out, my friend. I think that's a valid opinion, right? You're telling me to stop blaming the players. I can't, because the players are part of this. Okay. The manager is part of this too. I think Ineos and the Glazers are a bigger part of this. All I'm asking for you, Brian, okay, I don't mind you saying for me to stop to blame the players, Matt. I completely get it, right? The only thing I'm going to ask of you is this. Can you give me a broad plan of what it is we do next? Hello from Pristina, Kosovo. Hello, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well, Brian. All I'm asking anybody who says Amorim out, right? And guys, you are valid in that opinion. I'm not going to call that out, guys, because it is a valid opinion. The only thing I'm asking, because I don't know the answer here, Brian, is that what do we do? Like, can you give me an overall plan as to what would you do? Now, there has to be, scenario one has to be, what happens if we don't get European football? We will have less money, and we will be keeping the likes of a Luke Shaw. What do we do? Like, who do we go for? And if we have to keep these players, what do we do? Like, That's what I'm asking for. Like, if you can tell me, obviously you can't guarantee. I'm just asking for some clarity as to what you would do right now. I have many reasons why I wouldn't sack him now, and one of the main reasons, and Simon, I'm sort of verging with you, my friend, is this. I don't know who I could get. I don't know who I would get to come in to sort out this mess. I don't know. If I knew, would I consider it? I don't know. At what point do we consider sacking a manager? Because I think what we've all got to get here is if we sack a manager, a new manager's going to want players. A new manager's not going to want to work with Luke Shaw. A new coach is not going to want to work with his Portuguese contingent. All I'm asking for, really, is a way. Now, as Josh says there, I think Amorim has many excuses here. Okay? I don't want to sack another manager with excuses. So, as Josh says there, I would give Amorim another season. Give Amorim his players, and this is a proviso, right? I would give Amorim another season only if he's going to be backed. If Amorim is not going to be backed, sack him. Because there is no point. Amorim needs to be backed. If Amorim isn't backed, sack him. Because there is just no point. Like, I want to give him 2 or 3 windows, but if all he's going to get in the next window is 2 midfield players, Luke Shaw is still playing, Bruno Fernandes is here playing as an 8, sack him. Because there is no point. If you're not going to give a specialist coach, specialist players, sack him, because he needs to be back. So look, I'm not arguing against Amorim in or Amorim out. Right now, I really couldn't give a shit. I can't stand this team top to bottom. I can't stand it. I absolutely cannot stand this team top to bottom. Amorim is out of his depth. I still don't think it's all of his fault. I know many of you do. But this is a collective fuck up. And what pisses me off the most is that all these Ineos, Amorim, Glazers, it is the fans that suffer. It's us fans who have to watch that shit. It is the fans that go to the ground. It is an absolute shambles from top to bottom. Let's go. Coach needs more time to achieve his game plan. You don't build a team in one night. I do agree. Dino says long 5 months in AFCON, we have to deal with that. Liverpool is the best. End of the season in May. World Cup after that. Players will get injured before the new season starts, or when there'll be friendly start. The manager is playing Bruno, Shaw, Dalot, Casemiro. Don't forget playing 5 at the back against Bournemouth at home. Also, this manager doesn't play the youth. Amorim out. Look, and Omar. Like, I am not tonight. This is not about me coming back on your opinions. If I do and I disagree with something, I will say, but it doesn't mean that I'm right. That's a valid look. That's a valid opinion. You know what I really appreciate, Omar, and as a community to basically debate this out. If you are Amorim in, I'm manager in. I will give you the reasons why. You may not agree with me, and that's fine. But I also appreciate if you are Amorim out, then that's fine as well. And Omar, I think that is a legitimate reason to be Amorim out. Simon says, I'm on the fence right now. Dino says, I think Amorim will get the season and will leave in the summer. To be honest, I want to give Amorim another season. Liam says, Semenyo should have been sent off. Casemiro did exactly the same a couple of seasons ago and got a 3-game ban. Good point, Liam. Come June, we have summer window, so who goes and who comes in player-wise, and if Amorim is still here. If Amorim isn't going to be back, what's the point? Forward line looking better tonight, although defence needs a lot of work. We need De Ligt back ASAP. Agree with that. De Ligt real shambles, and it's only when you see these players and De Ligt gets called out a lot. You can see now why he's so good. Johnny Hill says Manu came on and give us so much control. If he decides to bench Manu against Villa, then I think Amorim will be finished without the majority of the fan base. Johnny, he's not going to start. He's not going to start Manu, mate. He's not going to start Manu. He's just not. Can we transfer Ortard to Galatasaray to free Abi? Do you need it, mate? He's all yours, mate. He's all yours. Many fans would just stay away and save money. If you watch the match on TV, simple thing to do is switch off. Agree with you, son. Buying 0 midfielders is the reason we drew. Imagine Wharton and Anderson in midfield as an 8 and 6. 4-win easy. Build a spine in the team with players' experience in this league. Good pros. Look, I agree with you. So let's get on to the match. Right. Let's just talk about this match. Okay. So look, Amorim started off with I think was a hybrid. It was a hybrid back three thing. I thought attacking wise, the first 20, 25 minutes, half an hour, United looked good. United looked brilliant, in fact. Can you come to Villa on Sunday and get 3 points? No, Neil. No. Not a chance. Not a chance. Aston Villa haven't lost at home for 30. Go and check out their stats. Their stats are something crazy. No, we will lose to Villa. The first half was good. I thought Mbeumo was possibly off a little bit tonight. I thought Ahmad was brilliant. I thought Ahmad got the ball. That he was fantastic. I thought Casemiro in the first half, despite the goal, was a little bit off of the pace. But again, Casemiro does come up with these goals. So, he's always a threat. Fernandes, I thought, was actually pretty good. I thought he tackled. I thought he headed. I actually thought he did some good stuff tonight. I thought that Delo was, again, I thought he was having a good game. I thought he looked progressive. I thought he tried to get forward. Luke Shaw is Luke Shaw. I thought Luke Shaw, when Luke Shaw has got time and he's facing an opponent and he tackles, there was a couple of good things that Luke Shaw did today as well. I thought Yoro looked a little bit, I don't know, there's something not quite right there. I actually thought Heaven started off the better of Yoro and him. I thought Heaven, there was a bit where Heaven weaved through, and I thought Heaven was, in the first half an hour, was good. Bruno, Casemiro, Mount. Look, I thought Mason Mount in the first half an hour was brilliant. Cunha as well. I liked what they did. I liked Mason Mount. And then Bournemouth started to get back into the game. Now, Luke Shaw has always got a mistake in him. And Luke Shaw got exposed. Somebody was on here about a month ago trying to tell me that Luke Shaw's got pace. That was the first sign for me. And I'll tell you why I can't stand these players is fucking Luke Shaw gives away the ball to Semenyo, right? He's out of position. It happens. I get that. But he's fucking jogging back. He is pootling back. Why is he not busting a gut to get back? The guy's got a massive gut. Why can he not bust his big fat gut to get back and do something. That, for me, is what tells you everything you need to know about this side. You've got a player making a mistake like Luke Shaw, which always happens, and people come on here and tell me that Luke Shaw is brilliant and Luke Shaw is quick. Luke Shaw is absolutely fucking dog shit. You know, that goal was caused by, he gave it away, and I can forgive it. I can forgive it. People give the ball away all of the time. It happens. It happens to some of the best players in the entire world. It happens. But what I fucking expect from that fucking waste of space is to run back. I cannot tolerate lazy fuckers. I cannot tolerate it. There is a certain standard at this club that has been forgotten. We can lose games, I get that. People play out of position, I get that. What I cannot tolerate and will never abide are these players on 200 grand a week not sprinting back. And you go back and you watch Luke Shaw, Pootle behind. Why is he not sprinting his arse back? And that's why I cannot fucking stand Luke Shaw. I have no time for that arsehole. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of him. He gives that ball away and then he's not running back. What a fucking shambles. So then that leads to the goal. And Brian says, Luke Shaw has been terrible all season. He has been dog shit. And Brian, mate, I agree with you. I think he's absolutely the worst thing. Look, look, I can forgive players many things. Bruno Fernandes, for example, he's playing out of position. I get that, right? I get it. There are things that players do. Simon says, I'm 62 and have more get up and go than Luke Shaw. And it's absolutely, if you watch that today, Amorim will not call that out today. If you go back and you watch it, as I say, I can tolerate many things. Look, as a team, we are up and down. As long as you put in a shift, you look at Ahmad. Ahmad today busted his arse. Yes, fell off a cliff. If you look at him at the end of the game, he is on the floor. This is where Amorim's problem is. How can you play Luke Shaw for 92 minutes? How can you sit there and watch that fucker concede you a goal and not sprint back? I'm so angry at that. Watching that back again. Go and watch that back again. Luke Shaw is a fucking disgrace. Now, first half an hour, we could and should have scored 3 or 4 goals. I think we would have put Bournemouth away, and I think the game would have been comfortable. Like, Cunha had his chances. I thought Mason Mount was good. Bruno Fernandes was good. Now, I did think the team was quite cohesive. And then the light switch happens. The most annoying things for me, and I will come back to the chats, by the way. The most annoying thing for me is go back on this community, go back and watch the video that we did when we were speaking about the Bournemouth game. We said that they would turn over the ball as quickly as they can. They would be disruptive. They like to recycle the ball early. They will basically consistently come at you. They will attack those wide parts. Everything that we spoke about on that show, Bournemouth did. Everything we spoke about on the Forest game, they did. Everything we spoke about the Spurs game, they did. everything we spoke about the Crystal Palace game they did. I cannot understand why Ruben Amorim. We're a community here. We are not. I mean, some of you are. I am not a trained UEFA coach, right? If we can figure this shit out on here, why can't these United players and this coach figure out a way to beat these teams? It's almost like he's just too stubborn or too thick. I just don't get it. And then Bournemouth then decided to attack us, and then our heads drop, and then you can see the light switch, you can see it turn, you can see it. They shit themselves, and then you can just see that light switch go out. They score a goal, 2-1, and then you can feel it. You can feel it. It's almost like a slow build. Bournemouth start to push it more, and they feel like they're getting some joy. Every single fucking time between the centre back and the wing backs, everybody attacks that gap. Everybody. The pivot is a pile of dog shit. Casemiro and Bruno just doesn't fucking work. And then that was the foil to the second half, which we'll come to in a second. Let me go through the chats. What have we got? Dina says Larmans and Ahmad for man of the match. Game should have been over in the first half an hour. United to be at least clinical. I agree with you. Euro looked off. He did. If I was the manager, here's what I would do. The first thing, I would get a defence, because I feel like that was the main problem. When they played this season, they conceded 2. We just didn't have enough gas in our tank to finish teams off. I felt like a cheap car running out of gas. Brian says there are many goals. Liam, Euro needs to play next to experienced centre-back. Playing Euro and Heaven together was a recipe for disaster. Dina says, my 2-year-old daughter has more pace than Luke Shaw. Shaw is not aggressive, and that's a problem. Drinking alcohol, good or bad? Look, I don't drink that much, but I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good. I sometimes have a drink. I don't drink that much. I could go into a whole thing about booze, but I'm not going to. Switch says people think he has pace because he jumps towards midfielders to regain possession. When it's a foot race, he can't keep up, and his decision making is dreadful. I agree with you. Zycat Khan says, hello, my friend. Brian says, Luke Shaw has been terrible all season. He's been dog shit. I don't care what people say. He's got no pace. I agree. A dysfunctional club from top to bottom. Wake me up in 10 years when they're all gone. Jack says, preach. I think it was the player's fault. Someone says, I'm 62 and I have more guess up and go than Shaw. Absolute disgrace not running back. Steve said, they don't play for the badge anymore. Yet they are the freeloaders. Shaw is just trying to play himself back into the England team. I agree with you. Mistakes can be forgiven. Not showing effort cannot be forgiven. Things will improve, but not in our lifetime. I think the game took a year from each of our lives. It sure did, my friend. I've seen a lot worse in my long years as a fan. Robbo, Int, Keane, Carrick, but they could pass, tackle, box to box and score. We need footballers, number 6 or 8, just plain simple footballers. Our defence was too poor to concede these goals. Just kidding, but tonight was dire. Ever speak the excuses for this manager? I've never seen so many people make so many excuses for a manager. Negligence, it's tyrant. And look, ever speak. Look, this is the thing. Right, you've got your opinions, and it must be frustrating. Ever speak, it must so. Ever speak, Pete. Sorry, it must be frustrating for you. I get it. It's equally as frustrating for me at times when I sympathise with Amorim outers. I fully appreciate why you're out. But I think what you've also got to understand here is this is not a simple case. For many people, including myself, these players have sacked many, many managers. Look, I'm not letting Amorim get away with this scot-free. I say this over and over again. Amorim may not be the guy. Amorim may not be the guy, but neither are these players. I think everybody collectively has to take the blame for this shambles. You know, Ineos and the Glazers hired this coach, a Portuguese coach, no experience in the Premier League. So this is the bit that I don't get. Is your philosophy of hiring players is Premier League proven, Premier League scorers, Premier League proven players, right? But you don't go and bring in a Premier League proven coach. It doesn't sync up. Like what Ineos are trying to do doesn't sync up. Because why would you go and get a manager with no Premier League experience who's very, very young when we clearly need an experienced high-level coach who's able to basically manipulate this team until he's got his own players? So you brought in a manager who not only plays a different style of football than what we've ever played, who's not Premier League proven. You give him senior Premier League pros and only buy pretty much Premier League proven players. Make that make sense to me. And then we all wonder why a coach who's 40, 41 years old with no Premier League experience is struggling to get a tune out of these players. Make it make sense to me. We nearly scored in the first minute. Luke Shaw is a disgrace to this team. He is to the whole organisation and to the whole history. Joshua says Luke Shaw is rubbish in defence. The only players I thought played well were Heaven and Cunha. Worst player, Shaw, and I'm still hammering out he needs to start coming. And look, there is nothing wrong with that. Get your opinions in tonight, and I will read your opinions on this because, again, you guys need therapy. You guys need to come on here. I think it's worth the debate point. I think we absolutely need to debate this out because I think it's so important. Switch says, I can't believe Mount came off before Mbeumo. Mbeumo was dreadful. We blew our chance to be fourth with a win. 6+ says Martinez is at fault for the fourth goal. Mbeumo drop-off is a worry. Bournemouth always have been tricky side to play against. I always fear for any team beginning with the letter B. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to see the problem, JB. That's the worrying thing. Why is it when we have a chance of going fifth, we keep fucking blow it up? I do agree. Mbeumo's just another balloon. Whoever is getting paid to coach our defence should be sued under the Trades Description Act. I love that. Are you still above Liverpool? Don't know, mate. We all know how this ends. JB, this is ridiculous. Ahmad is our only world class player. I like Ahmad. I don't think Ahmad is world class, but I do like him. Brian says they should have brought back Fergie. Mbeumo was so poor. 6 clean sheets in 43 Premier League games. What hope have you got when you know you have to score at least 2 to get something? We all know how this ends. Look, I think you make a great point. This fan says this is the worst team we've ever had. Brian says they should have got a Premier League proven manager for, and look, Brian, I agree with you. So look, let's get on to the second half. I mean, fucking hell, the second half. I'm going to start off with Bruno Fernandes because I thought Bruno Fernandes was having a good game. Right? This was one of these days where I actually not felt sorry for him. He didn't put in a captain's performance today. But when I thought he had a good first half, his free kick was fucking world class, by the way. I thought Bruno Fernandes had a good game. if Bruno Fernandes was just another player and not the captain, I would have said he didn't deserve to lose today. I'm not saying that Bruno Fernandes was good. I'm not saying that he was the best player in the world, but I thought he actually played a bit better than he did, than he has done, right? The fact that Bruno is the captain, people don't seem to realise this, or they don't get it. You are a captain of this team, and you play every minute of every single game. You are the captain of this side. Why, Bruno Fernandes, can you not grab this game by the scruff of the fucking neck? I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, you do these world-class things. Bruno Fernandes is a stat padder. He's a fucking stat padder, right? Bruno Fernandes is capable of some world-class things. That ball that he put in for Maguire against Liverpool to score the winner was world-class. The free kick today to get us back into the game, fucking world-class. The corner that he put across, fantastic. But he doesn't do anything outside of those moments. Second half, he was absolutely dog shit. And again, I'm so sick of saying this. I want Bruno Fernandes gone. He is Moments FC. He can do some world-class stuff. But it doesn't matter. You are the captain of this side. If you can't, there is no way that Robson, Roy Keane, Neville would let this happen. There was no way that they would stand for this crap. And Bruno Fernandes, you are the captain of this team. They have capitulated under your watch. You are the worst captain I have ever seen play for this club. I don't doubt that as a number 10, you are a great player. You do some world-class things. Bruno Fernandes, to me, is a stat padder. I'm done. How can you let this happen on your watch? You're a captain and you are not a captain. If this club was brave enough to take the captaincy away and let him be another player, I would be more forgiving of Bruno Fernandes. But he's not. The captain of this side needs to be more than a player. The captain of this side needs to embody the fans. This club, the captain of this club, I need to keep banging this home. It's not just another number. Younger fans don't get it. The captain of this club is not just another captain. It's not just an armband that you just give to a player. The captain has so much responsibility. The captain is the only other club, and I'll keep saying this, is Liverpool. It's the only other club. Those two clubs, their captains are more than players. They're the embodiment of the club. They're the embodiment of the badge. They're the embodiment of the fans. And Bruno Fernandes isn't that. He is just another player, a Moment FC player that needs to go. And the reason why I say that, because the only way that he gets gone is you take off the captaincy off of him. And the only way you do that is if he leaves. Bruno Fernandes can fuck off. I've got no time. I've got no time for a captain who isn't a captain. So for me, I'm done. Luke Shaw, second half. Look, Luke Shaw, dog shit. Second half, absolute. I'm gonna score the players. And let's see. Like, I'm gonna read the comments, and then I'm just gonna score these players because look, we know what happened. Second half capitulation, just abjectly awful. And I'm sick and tired of it. Right, let's go through your chats. As we said, a manager's fortune can change very quickly. Areola was being linked to Madrid 3 months ago. And a lesson for United fans. things can also go from bad to good. Mate, it's just not going to happen, is it? JB, we don't have a defence. Casemiro is our best defender. 39 seconds, JB. 39 seconds to clap. Well, what's that song called? I got 21 seconds to go. I got 21 seconds to go. 39 seconds. Fucking hell. I was rooting for Sunderland until I switched to United. That was one of the worst decisions of my life, Brian. I love it. Does this team have the ability to finish off an opponent? I tell you what, if this team was a porn star, you'd be disappointed. I'm annoyed at Casemiro for getting suspended. Delo caused the turnover. Bruno was all right. Second half, we were shy aside from the free kick. Bruno did get his goal. He did. Simon a whole ward maybe. Paul James Owens, the second half was a disaster, but I'm not going to bother wasting my oxygen. You know my views. Look, Paul, give it up for Paul. Paul is a match-going fan. Give Paul a big up, because Paul doesn't have to, but he chooses. He chooses to go because of his support for the club to go and watch that shit. Like, Paul, mate, I sympathise, my friend. I mean, just... Paul, mate, it's just... Brian says the second half was a blunder, an absolute blender of a game, second half. Did anyone tonight deserve to get man of the match? Larman's for me, Simon. Look, when we're talking about the context of man of the match, they were all dog shit, but, you know, Larman's for me. Dennis says, plus they brought him in halfway through the season. Wrong move from the off. I believe Rude was the man. The owners was never clever enough to see it. Plus, they weren't brave enough. Heaven needs to go on loan. He's learning his trade in the centre of defence. That is terrible, whilst also trying to figure out this formation. He's not shown anything that warrants his place. But JB, he doesn't have these performances enough. No, agreed, Dino. Agreed, mate. Agreed. We blew a golden chance to sell Bruno for 100 million, and those chances just come once. Maguire was terrible captain too. Please give De Ligt the captaincy and save our sanity. JB, I've said it before and I'll say it again. 100 million we missed out on. I agree, but the other players have a responsibility to perform at a certain level. Bruno can't do everything about other players. No, agreed. Guys, you are smashing this tonight, aren't you? In the table, there are 4 teams with 26 points. We're above Liverpool. Palace is above us. If United didn't drop points at home to West Ham, Everton, Bournemouth, they would be 2 points behind City in a title race. But Usman, mate, that's like saying if we didn't lose 15 games last season, well, we could have won the title, mate. You know, look, ifs and buts and coconuts. Like we're losing games because we're not very good. Do they need strikers? It's a question that United needs. Yes, Brian, we needed a striker. Some says 100 million would have been enough to buy 2 or 3 players. Bruno needs to motivate the team and stop just having hissy fits. I do agree. Bruno is our best player. Without him, we would be in a much worse position. Brad, look, that's your view, my friend. But Brad, look, at what point? Bruno Fernandes is going to be 31 years old. We've lost better players than Fernandes. We've lost, Beckham, Robson, Keane, Scholes, Giggsy, Cristiano, Rooney, Vidic, Evra, Rio, Schmeichel. Bruno Fernandes, Brad, look, again, I respect the opinion. My view is Bruno Fernandes is overrated. The fact that, Brad, for me, the fact that you're saying that scares the shit out of me. The fact that we are saying that Bruno Fernandes is our best player and this team will collapse without him is terrifying. It's terrifying. Like, if you go back to the team, if you go back to the 90s, even if you go back to the noughties, if Rooney was out or Cristiano was out, this team wouldn't collapse. So the fact that you're saying, and look, it's not because of what you're saying, it just absolutely terrifies the shit out of me that the fact that we collapse without Bruno Fernandes. Mr. Producer says Liverpool. Simon says, according to the BBC website, Semenyo got man of the match. Oh, they can fuck off. That's fucking biased as fuck. Players are to blame, says Brad. We dominated the first half because of Amorim's tactics. We capitulated because of the players getting dementia and forgetting how to play football, Brad. I love that. Mr. Producer says Liverpool is the best team ever. Maybe. Okay, guys, I'm turning up early. Great stream. Not a brilliant match. Hope to catch the next stream. Simon, legend, my friends. Hope you're doing extremely well. Heaven is only in the middle because Euro failed there. Maguire and De Ligt were both out. Chelsea sucks. We had 2 awful keepers last season. The Audacity said Bournemouth are a top Prem side. Was always going to be hard. Good night, all. Have a great day, legend. Simon, you are a legend. Bruno is United's best signings is Rooney. I think you're on a wind up there. I think I would probably say, that Vidic, Evra, Cristiano, Tevez, Berbatov would probably all have an argument with you. Heaven, a young lad who is talented, but is nowhere near the first team yet. Felt sorry for the lad. 25 minutes, just got lost in the disaster. That was a defence. Ferguson got results out of playing Carrick, centre-back Park, Kushak and goal. To say we crumble, Bruno goes, it is hilarious. Name me 2 strikers that Manchester United needs. Who would you sign? The 2 midfielders, Bruno, clears them all for me. No. Look, that's your opinion. That's your view. No problem at all. Let's have a little look, see what else we're saying. Name me 2 strikers that United needs. I can tell you 2 type of strikers that we need. We need a Harry Kane type, and I'm not saying Harry Kane. We need a Harry Kane type. We can't get 2 strikers, right? We've got Šeško. The other one that I would get would probably be an Osimhen type. I think we need that Osimhen type of player. Mateta as well, actually. I like him. I think what we need as a striker, and I think Brad is spot on. We need a bully. We need somebody who's Premier League proven. We need somebody who's a bully, someone who can score goals, and I think Mateta would fit that mould. The team does collapse without him. Remember when we played Palace, we had an injury and we were absolutely horrific. Bruno creates the most chances. Players don't finish them. His off-ball work. Look, Brad, mate, I'm not going to disagree with your comment on that. Look, I do get why people like him. I no longer share that opinion. I've seen too much of him. Look, I think Fernandes at one point was our best player. I think he's older now. I think he's been played out of position. But my only comment, Brad, is not the comment. Is not your comment per se. It's the if you take one player out of this team, the whole thing collapses. It's scary. It's so scary. What were your thoughts on Mainoo? Do you think he'll get minutes with Casemiro out? I think he has to. That Kobe didn't have enough of a game time. I think I would be very remiss and very, very unfair to judge Kobe Mainoo on getting like half an hour. I thought some of the things that he did were very, very good. I don't know if Kobe Mainoo is that defensive midfielder. I think he should get minutes. I think if Casemiro isn't there, give him minutes. Give him minutes. I thought some of the things that I saw, I liked a lot. I like Kobe Mainoo. I want him to do well. So I think that the things that I saw, I liked. Give him a run of games. Give him a run of games. And I think Kobe could play himself back into this team. Brad says we need proven. Well, Beck, look at the play Bruno has to supply compared to United's team. With Everett, Tevez, Rooney, he has utter dross around him. I'm not saying that Bruno Fernandes is not a good player. But you did just say, and look, I'm quoting you, okay, is that you said that Bruno Fernandes is the best player since Rooney, Cristiano, Tevez, even though I can't stand him, Berbatov. You can't say that Bruno Fernandes. You said it. You said it. Bruno Fernandes is the best signing since Wayne Rooney. Ronaldo is. Cristiano is the best signing. So you didn't specify. You didn't specify that the team around him. You just said with no context that Bruno Fernandes is the best signing since Wayne Rooney. I think factually, my friend, I think you're not correct. He has been one of our better signings. I think Carrick is better than him. So are you trying to tell me that Carrick is not as good as Bruno Fernandes? Disagree. Would you play Kobe in Bruno's role regarding Casemiro's then play Bruno in 10 in Boomer? Yes, I would. Yes, I would switch. I'd get Bruno back in the 10, Kobe at 8, and Ugarte as the 6. The team was all over the place when Mainoo came on. It's hard to make an impression. No, it is, Dino. No, it is. It really is. I feel again. Kobe Mainoo, it's so difficult. How can the kid make an impact? It's so hard. So look, I'm going to score the plays before I go. I am going to score these plays. I'm going to give him a mark out of 10, 6 being an average score. Larmens for me. Larmens gets a 9 for me. The reason why Larmens gets a 9 for me is because if it wasn't for him, we would have lost the match. At fault for the free kick, no problem with that. Conceded the 4 goals, fair enough. Not his fault. The free kick was his fault really. But look, when you make 2 saves like that, you're a man of the match. That save to what people will miss, and people will call me mental, people will call me crazy. That save that he did at the end twice. If that was Liverpool, if that was a Liverpool keeper, a Man City keeper, people would be like, oh wow, that's amazing. Those saves were so critical. That basically saved the whole game. It doesn't matter what you do up to that point. If you're losing 4-0, you score 4 goals, come back into the game, and then at the very last second, somebody scores and you lose 5-4. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do up to that point. Larmens was at fault for the free kick. I get that completely. Not a problem. But when you save what he saved twice, you are the man of the match. Switch says he could have done better with the free kick. Otherwise, anyone would concede with those defenders. Martinez cost us the win. Lemen's leg save reminded me of De Gea. That is a striker with attitude. We need a winger fighter. Remind you of a clutch player like Sparky. Oh, mate, Sparky is my hero. Mark Hughes is my hero. I love Sparky. So look, Lamens for me. Look, Lamens for me gets a 9. Lamens for me gets a 9. I wanted a new goalkeeper. We've got the goalkeeper that I think that we need, and those 2 saves at the end were just phenomenal. Luke Shaw for me today gets a 3. He's got zero pace for me. He's good in some positions. He's good when the pace is slowed down. But for me today, he's a 3. Euro today. Euro didn't have the best game. We conceded 4 goals. Again, Euro has to have a 3. Aiden Heaven, I thought he started off brightly. Again, we conceded 4 goals. He's got to be a 3. Delo as well. Look, he was really bright in the first half. I thought he was having a good game. We conceded 4 goals. He's got to get a 3. Casemiro scored a goal. Again, pivot just fucking ran through. I give him a 4 purely on the basis that he scored a goal. Oli Bruno Fernandes. Ahmad for me looked really, really bright. I really, really liked what Ahmad did today. I thought Ahmad was probably our second best player on that pitch as well today. I'd more than happily give him a 6 today. He can't get a 7. He has to have an average performance for that. For me, I can't give any of the defenders higher than a 3 or a 4 because they conceded four goals. But I think for me, Ahmad is a tricky one for me. I think 6 for me. In Bumo today, look, the fall off, as many of you have said today, is quite scary. I don't know what is wrong with him. I don't know if he's been impacted in this team. I think today he's got to get a 5. You could argue a 4. I think 5. Mason Mount started fantastically well. I really like what Mason Mount did today, but again, fell off. He can't play, more than an hour or so. He falls off. He looks tired. But I think I'd give Mason Mount a 5 as well. Again, these forward players, some of them are quite good. I thought Cunha today was bright. Cunha scored a goal. I thought he looked pretty good. I'd probably give him between a 5 and a 6. I think you could argue a 5.5. Bruno Fernandes. Look, Bruno Fernandes today, he got an assist. He scored a world-class goal. Do I think it was an above-average performance? No, but I've got to be fair. I think Bruno for me was probably... Look, I've got to give Bruno a 6. Because he basically scored that free kick. He gets assist. Without that goal and without that assist, Bruno Fernandes for me is a 4. He's petulant. He moans. He whinges. He collapses. This team feed off of him. He's petulant. I can't fucking stand him at times. But I think for me, Bruno, I think with the goal and the assist, you've got to give him that. I think I would give him probably a 6. Now, Šeško, I thought when Šeško came on, Šeško looked bright. He did do some good stuff. I think he just come back from injury. I'd probably give him a 5.5, 5 to a 5.5. Mainu is very, very difficult to score, but look, I'm going to give Mainu a 6 because Mainu's come on. He's tried to do some stuff. But then again, we did capitulate a bit again. I think maybe Mainu gets a 5.5, 6. I think you could argue that. Xerxes wasn't on for long enough, so 5. Dorgu wasn't on for long enough. Maybe you give him a 5. Martinez was at fault for one of the goals. I think I've got to give him a 4 for that as well. So, look, Dino, yeah, you're right. You can argue Bruno's 6.5, 5 as well. What are you guys saying? You've got Dino says Lament 8. I agree with what you're saying, but 4 goals and 9 is a stretch. But I agree with what you're saying. Look, the reason why I'm going to give Lamens a 9 is because, look, we've been asking for a goal. The reason why Lamens for me is a 9 is this. If that was a Nana, we would have lost that game. Lamens for me, and look, I completely get it. And I know I am on my own on this one. No problem at all. But for me, we've been asking for a keeper for the longest time to do what he did today. And I think for me today, because of the context in the save at the time, for me, he's a 9. But look, I know I'm a bit mental. Dino says Luke Shaw was a 3. Euro 2, Heaven 3, Delo 5. Switch says Luke was a 3, Euro 4, Heaven a 5, maybe for passing, but defending let him down. Martinez come on and was dreadful. Delo 4, no impact. Ahmad was a 6.5. Started bright but died a death. In Bumo 4 is the same. Mason 5, Cunha 6. Switch says Ahmad 6, Mbumo 3, Cunha 7, Mount 7, Bruno 6, Shesko 5, Xerxes 4, Casemiro 6, and Mainu 6. Bruno 6.5. Keep smiling says Crystal Palace manager, the best manager from United at the moment. Dino says Mainu 6, average went missing with the chaos of the game. Keep smiling says hi. Leo says bedtime. But look, guys, yeah, I am going to go. I wanted to say, look, I am going away tomorrow. I'm going away to the North Pole tomorrow. I'm going away to Norway tomorrow. So tonight might be my last stream for a couple of days. I am planning on doing one from the North Pole simply because it would be bloody cool to do a stream from the North Pole. So look, I'm going to be very inconsistent for the next couple of days. Steve Hannigan says, what was your verdict on the score tonight? I think Bournemouth deserved it. I think Bournemouth absolutely deserved the 4-4 tonight. In fact, if I was a Bournemouth fan tonight, I would be utterly pissed off that we didn't win the game. The only reason why Bournemouth didn't win the game tonight was because of a goalkeeper. They absolutely dominated the second half. I thought the performance was disgusting from us again tonight, and we're just in chaos. Bruno should have stepped up and controlled the game because we went 4-3 up, game to open, and no common sense. United guy is not having it. Damn right, I'm not, my friend. Been a pleasure, JB. Great shows today as always. Have a great holiday. Thank you, my friend. Time to go to bed and look forward to Sunday. Yeah, I agree. Thanks, Steve. Credit to Bournemouth, good team. One last thing. Thoughts on Semenyo yellow? Casemiro would have seen red. I thought Semenyo should have seen red. I'll give you the context. Do I think it was a red card? No. Under the context of Bruno of Casemiro doing the same thing, it was a red card. So if you look at it under the context of, was it a red card? No. Was Casemiro's a card? No. But under the same context of Casemiro being sent off, yes, 100% it should have been a red card. But we all know, don't we? So look, guys, I was too positive with the 3-1. Mitch, you got to be, mate. At least, do you know what? At least you were. So look, guys, just a massive thank you from me. Guys, you've been with me. Some of you have been with me since 7:45 today. We've been through the game again. You've been with me for the last 4 hours. And look, thank you so much. You guys are legends. This channel doesn't exist without you guys. We may not agree. We don't. I think the best thing about this channel for me is the fact that we don't always agree. you all have our opinions, but I think, unlike other channels, I think the toxicity is kept to quite a low. And I just think this is an amazing place to be, and this is a place that I always look forward to coming to as well. Dino, 28k, mate. Look, this is the community thing. This is to do with us all. So look, we're going to be pushing for 29,000. Going to push our way to 30,000. Who knows? Maybe we'll get bigger and bigger things. And it is all thanks to you guys. A great stream. Hopefully some better results in the new year, but I don't trust the owners to invest in January. Have a good time anyway. Thank you guys. Look, I am going to try to do some streaming. I will try to do some streaming from there. I don't see any of the content creators live at midnight. Like and subscribe, peeps. Look, I know, right? They're clearly not as committed as no. I'm kidding. So look, guys, legends. Look, sorry and sad that we couldn't get a win tonight. We've got a point. It's a very, very confusing season. If it's one thing, it is entertaining. We don't know what we're going to get from game to game. It scares the crap out of me. Dino says 30 incoming next, 100k, the Trio podcast. It's going to be cooking with Dino. It's going to be swearing with Scott. But look, no, I've got plans, and Dino and Scott are going to be the first two that I call upon. So Dino, you need to prepare yourself, my friend, because you two are going to be the ones that I call upon the most. So guys, I will be back. I don't know when. Thank you for being here as always. What a weird game tonight. Absolute weird, strange game. So look, guys, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening. Have a good rest of your week. I will be back, I don't know, at some point. Life is like a box of chocolates. I will answer the call. Legend, my friend. Legend. So look, guys, you've been amazing. I'll be back at some point over the next week. Don't miss me too much. I will miss you guys like crazy. Look, don't forget, you can message me. The email is in the channel banner. There's the community tab. Don't forget to put some stuff in there. Yeah, you guys are there. So look, thank you so much. I'm off to see Santa. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel. You guys are the best community in on this platform. Easy. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Take care and